Welcome back to Talent Skill Tree, episode 4. So I'm super excited. I actually have a colleague for this episode's podcast, and it's kind of funny. We were talking before the show here about how we just other in posts and activities and comments. We're like, you know what, we should really do some type of event together. And so I'm really stoked and happy that Madison Edgar, who is from Activision Blizzard, Global Events Manager. Welcome, Madison. How's it going?
Thank you. It's awesome. It's a Thursday, and it's just an awesome day. It's nice and bright and sunny, and I'm solar powered, so I'm feeling good.
Solar powered and feeling good. You're in LA, right?
Yes, I'm in LA.
Okay, so do you go on campus a lot or not really?
No, because now our campus is in Irvine, and that's like a 2-hour drive for me. So I work from home, and I love it. I do miss people, but I do love working from home just because of the time saved, and I like to be like ultra productive and efficient. So it's working out for me.
Okay. Yeah. So beautiful California weather. Finally, it's been, been gloomy. And so the sun coming out is making it shine. And so speaking of which, here at Talent Skill Tree, we actually have different categories and different topics. And one topic is industry experts, which we had Amir Satvat from the last episode. And then we have job seekers. So doing the candidate recruiter interviews. And my favorite actually topic is actually personal growth, personal development, positivity, and motivation, which has always been key for me. And so that is the reason why I wanted to invite you, Madison, to come on the show. It's because I wanted to get your tips and tricks. I wanted to get your story. Also want to show the audience and the community out there also what you've been doing too lately. And as far as your industry expertise in the video gaming industry.
I got a lot. I got all those things, and it's also my favorite. I love like talking about true happiness, motivation, especially for those who need it, especially now. Obviously, always personal growth. Like you, I love learning. So I'm into all of those things. So thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. Well, speaking of personal growth, this is kind of an off-the-wall question here. Do you read any blogs or do you read any books? And if so, what's a favorite of yours that you recently read?
So I don't read much, only because I don't have time. I'm just very busy with work. As you know, we are very hard workers here at Activision Blizzard. When it comes to, I guess, books in general, though, I do like nonfiction. And if you were to ask me what kind of shows do I watch, I don't watch TV at all, but I love documentaries. And instead of reading books, I will say I've listened to a couple of podcasts, mostly about how to level up or job seeking, just because I think a lot of the topics that people talk about with job seeking can be used in all aspects of your life. So I think those are all personal hacks. And it's funny. I was like, what's the name of the podcast? There's 3 that I listen to, and I can't think of any of them, but if they come to mind, I'll let you.
Okay, no worries. Well, speaking of podcasts, one of my favorite podcasters is Jay Shetty.
Yeah.
With Jay, monk turned podcaster, which is in itself is one of the coolest stories, right? But I love just picking up his knowledge and tidbits in regards to not only with his personal life, because you mentioned you love learning and you love delving into these topics because you can use it in both career and personal life. So I 100% spot on with Jay Shetty. So, his wife is also an influencer. And so I love that he's genuine, he's vulnerable, and he keeps it real. And he said, you may see us on TV, on podcasts, but we have issues just like everyone else in this world with marriage problems and depression and mental health awareness. And so I love that he's real with us on that aspect, gives us a little tip, life hack, like you said, and then also does it in the career mode too as well. So I think it's a good balance,
Yeah, he makes him relatable. You're like, that guy doesn't understand. You're like, yeah, he actually does. So I agree. Those are the things that make people like actually pay attention and be like, oh, this could be, I guess, not relatable. I don't know. I can't even think of the words, but I agree. He's a great guy. And also, what a cool looking couple. They're just, their eyes.
I was going to say the same thing. The eyes are the same. And their eyes are exactly the same. And a lot of times people have thought they were actually the same person, but it's totally bizarre, but it's cool though, like you mentioned. Well, speaking of things in common, so what we have in common is we're both part of the ABK Gamechanger. So congratulations. Absolutely. You deserve it. It's an elite program for those who don't know that we're 50 plus selected individuals get cherry picked to be pretty much brand ambassadors or social media ambassadors to share tips and tricks and then to constantly level each other up. Right. And so you actually joined as an ABK Gamechanger actually after I did. And so I just want to hear more about your story. So how did you come into Activision Blizzard and why do you think you were selected as an ABK Gamechanger? And tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay, so my journey here, which is very exciting. So I was at my previous company for 12 years and it was awesome. I got to travel the world. It was very lucrative. But I was ready for change. And it's mostly because I wasn't being challenged. And you would probably feel the same way. I need to feel challenged. And that was the one thing that was missing. And I talked to my one recruiter friend. He used to work for Red Bull. And he asked me like a simple question. And he said, well, before you started working, what did you do? And I was like, what did I do? And I started laughing. I was like, oh, I used to play Call of Duty with my sister for like 5 hours every single night. And he's like, well, maybe that's something you should think about. And I didn't even put any thought into it. I didn't act on it. And as I started looking for jobs, I was in no rush. I was like, whoa, I think I am going into like the gaming world because it's just exciting. Like I read a job description, I'm like, oh, that is actually exciting. And the benefit with gaming is that it's still very competitive. And I am a very competitive person in nature. Probably like I have a twin sister and I think we're just like born competitive, but it had that. It's something that I knew and I did. Even then I thought like gaming was the future because whether the economy is doing well, whether there's some kind of COVID thing, whatever, everyone is still going to play games. So it's like a very strong thing. And I just knew that was something that would excite me. So I started like loosely looking for jobs and nothing really like worked out. And I think it was like 2 years later, I kind of just stopped because I was like, hey, my job is great. Maybe I shouldn't look for another job. And everyone else is like, you're crazy if you leave this job. But anyway, a recruiter from Activision Blizzard reached out and she was like, oh, would you be interested in this role? And it was for doing events, which I should have said that I've been doing events my entire career. And it's for Call of Duty League and Overwatch League. I was like, oh my gosh, it's for Call of Duty. Of course. Wow. So I was like, yeah, I'm interested. And I think it was like the first round interview. It went well. I was like, oh, I'm definitely getting this job. And I'm also a very like confident person. And I think it's probably like you. I just feel things. And I was like, oh, I'm getting this job for sure. And after every round, I think there was 5 interviews. I was 100% convinced I was going to get it. And at the final interview, it was with someone who was like maybe intimidating to other people, but oh yeah, these are the events you'll be going to, this. And I was like, oh, I did already get the job. So I got it. Awesome. And the first person I called was Sis. And I was like, Sis, you're not going to believe this. And she was shocked because I'm kind of weird about interviewing. I don't tell anyone about it until I've got an offer. And I'm a little secretive about that. I don't know why, but yeah, I told her and she was shocked. And then of course I called my mom. She started crying, of course. And that's how I got here. So it all worked out and I got the job that I definitely wanted, probably the exact job that I wanted when I talked to my recruiter friend years prior. And it's just always been cool to me. I was like, I can't believe I'm here. And the other thing is we have a very lean team at the Call of Duty League. And the other thing that I always think about if I'm not having the best day, or even if I am having the best day, it's like, I'm the only person in the world that gets to do this job. So that's awesome.
Unique, right? Yeah.
So cool. So that's how I got here. And for the Game Changer, I was doing another speaking panel with other people from Hawaii. And they were talking, I don't remember if they talked about game changers or if it popped up on their LinkedIn that I was looking at. I was like, I should absolutely be a game changer because I feel like I breathe, like everything about me is like I'm excited about my job. Yeah. So it's like, I should be this thing. So I selected a couple of people. They're like, hey, we have one spot left. Would you like it? I was like, Yes, absolutely.
Oh,
And like I just hit the ground running. And after meeting people like you and just doing these workshops, I was like, yeah, I mean, this is a win-win for both of us. Cause I felt like I don't know why I'm saying this, but I felt like I brought extra excitement to the group because I was like a new person and you saw how competitive I was with the points.
yeah, I did. And that's something I should bring up. So another thing that stood out from Madison for me was the new kid on the block. And so we had this competitive thing points internally. I won't get into the details, but it's about who can be a good social media ambassador. And so I'm struggling along, just striding with, a certain amount of points. So I'm feeling confident. Here comes Madison, brand new kid on the block. Next day, 10 folds, I think 12 fold my points in just one day. And I think 90% of the ABK game changers, you actually reached number one the very next day. I was like,
yeah, very safe.
Who is this person? And then that's when, so that's a good point. And that's when I started noticing, you brought a certain drive, energy, a certain vibration level to the group. And I feel like with any organization, whether it's business or personal life, you kind of need that emotional support system, like your circle of influence, and that's great that you had a recruiter or a friend who actually told you about Call of Duty. And I wanted to translate this because this is a funny story. So yesterday I saw Jay Shetty's, my favorite podcaster's video, and he mentioned, be careful what you say and be careful what you believe and be careful what you chase after, because it might come true. And so there's a positive and negative spin to that. So if you always say, I'm terrible at work, I suck at this, then most likely it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But in your experience, on the flip side, you were like, Call of Duty, I'm a huge gamer. I would love to see what happens. And then later on, you get this awesome opportunity. So subliminally, the universe was working for you. And
yeah, it happens often. And I've talked about this at a live event that I was a speaker for. And it sounds strange, but I'm batting 1,000. I've got everything that I've ever truly wanted. Wow. And in every way, like in every part of my life, even the house I live up in, like when I drive up to it, I can't really believe it's my house. And that's because we bought it at the perfect time. And like all these things just like fell into place, and it doesn't ever make sense.
Stars aligned.
And it just happens. Same with my relationship. Like the guy that I married is the ultimate husband ever. And I was like, yeah, that's I want to marry him. And now,
did you have a vision board?
No, I mean, it's all here. I have a brain board, and I do like talk about the things I want often, but also when I really want something, it like kind of consumes me, not in a bad way, like, I'm never going to get it, but it's like, oh, okay, that's going to happen. And whenever like someone says like, oh, it would be my dream if this happened, like usually if I say that, it's going to happen. Or like even a fun example is I was just in Vegas for the Call of Duty League champs. And even when I was playing blackjack, people thought I was crazy because whatever I said would happen. Like same show, I had a 6. I was like, well, next I'm going to get a 5. And then I got a 5. And I was like, well, now it's definitely going to be a 10. And then it was a 10. And I remember the table be like, oh my gosh, how'd you do that? I was like, it's kind of like, you just gotta believe it. And like what you said, it can work negatively. So other people on the table, they would, see like, oh, hit, but I'm probably gonna bust. And like every single time it like they would bust. So there's a lot of truth to it. I truly, truly believe in like putting things out into the universe, however you want to say it, but like believing in yourself. And even if it sounds like kind of crazy or kind of like far-fetched, like if you see yourself having it, it's much easier to then have it or to get it. And I'm like living proof of that. So yeah, I love talking about that.
That's amazing. Well, I love hearing stories like that, the journey, how people, because a lot of misconception out there is that, oh, you have to be in this business forever. There's no way that you can break in. And that's not true. Started a trend on the journey to gaming which our president Mike Ibarra actually tweeted out himself, and it kind of went viral. And so we all did a post. I'm not sure if I read your post.
I didn't. I'm gonna do it right after. I know I'm late to the game, but whatever.
Hey, you can still do it. There's plenty of time. You can still do it. Maybe that'll be a viral post for you. But I was watching everyone write their stories and their tweets, and I've noticed a trend. The trend was, it wasn't that cookie cutter linear path that everyone thought the projection was to get break into gaming. And the comments were the same thing too as well. The comments were like, wow, we have a similar journey. Wow, we came from a similar background. Just like how you and I, Madison, we were just talking before our call here. We just found out that we both were born in the same hospital, which is crazy. Triple R hospital. And we also have, same nationality backgrounds in our family. My mom is Filipino, and you mentioned you have some Filipino in your family too. So you'll be surprised. Don't go into their assumptions, because you know what they say a lot about assumptions is assumptions don't make an ass out of you and me. So absolutely, we're here to tell you, both Madison and I, is if you believe that you can break into the gaming industry, you absolutely can.
If you want it enough, you can.
When you want it enough, you can. It is only when you start thinking negatively, then guess what? You're going to get that negative experience. And I know a lot of people think that's mojo and that's just like crazy talk, but does it hurt? What do you have to lose?
Exactly.
Think positively, so. Also,
your day's just better. Like, imagine just being like, hey, it could happen. I don't know. Just keep trying. Like, you're going to have a great day. Or if you're negative, like, I bombed that interview. This is just not for me. It's too much work. Then you're like, not only is the outcome going to be bad, but your day already is bad. And I always take time to think about that, because I'm like a naturally happy person. It's very easy to notice ooh, why am I being a little bit negative? So I can catch it really easily. But I think a lot of people don't take inventory on how they're treating their day. And it's all, I'm sure you've talked about this, it's all mindset. Any bad day could be a positive day if you just reframe your mindset. And it's so easy to do. You have control of it. Just really be happy about something.
Yeah.
If you bomb an interview, or if you don't get to the next round, be stoked that you got that interview, because it's so hard even to get there now. So there's little things. It's again, gratitude, all of these things. It's so easy to make a negative experience a positive one. It just takes maybe some reflection, or just taking inventory.
Yeah. No, you hit it right on the head. Bingo, spot on, as far as having the right mindset. I've talked about this in my past LinkedIn events before, LinkedIn audio events, where there's a fighter jet mentality, like the movie Top Gun.
Of course.
Which is one of my favorite movies ever. Both of them, the part 2 and part 1, by the way.
Same.
And so the fighter jet mentality is this. Fighter jets are trained to visualize before they even start the plane, before they even start dog combat, is that they visualize winning. They visualize their controls. They visualize actually themselves doing the mission, going in there, going for the run, and then coming back. And they're doing this over and over again and over again. And what is happening with your mind is you're training your mind that this is going to happen. You know? And it's funny too, with the new trend now in TikTok, these Gen Z kids now, with a lot of the newer generations, older generations too, are coming on TikTok. And so there's a new trend called the lucky girl syndrome. I don't know if you heard that trend. So let me explain. On TikTok, it went viral because a person shifted their mind and said, for every day, I'm just going to say, I am so lucky. Everything always works out in my favor. And no matter what happens. So she was trying to find parking spot in a city. It was very hard to find a parking spot. And she goes, you know what? It's okay. I am so lucky. Everything always works in my favor. And then she found a parking spot. So just little examples like that is like a small life hack trick where you're tricking your mind again and just saying, you know what? The rain could be falling down and, you can have you stumbled your toe and you had a bad day. But if you start shifting your mindset by saying, you know what? I am lucky. Everything always works out in my favor. There's a reason why things worked out. maybe I stumbled on my toe because I needed to go get a drink of water and get hydrated, something like that. Something silly as that. But if you start with that mindset, it does work, so.
We also learned something. So when you get your motorcycle's license, you have to like take all these classes, and they always say you have to see through the turn. So when you're on a motorcycle, you don't just steer and turn. That's not the way to do it. You look at the turn, you look through the turn, and your bike and your body just follows. So it's like that too. See the future you want. Like, again, you have to want it. You have to want to put in the work. The thing is, I've never been lazy, and I think that's why things work out. I'm like lucky I'm a hard worker. But if you see it, then your body and everything, it's gonna follow, So like, I treat life like a motorcycle license test, whatever you want to call it. But it's true.
What bike do you ride now?
I had two. I don't have them anymore because I'm a mom. Okay. That's just cruel to my husband and my baby. What if? But I had like a street bike, like a Kawasaki Ninja. It was a really nice one, and a cruiser, just for like not wanting to like shoot the gap. But they're kind of long gone. But I do still have my motorcycle's license just in case.
Hey, one day maybe you'll bring it back out,
Maverick style.
Bring it out from the garage, or you like come home one day and you tell your husband, "Look what I bought."
Hey, one day.
I know we were supposed to use that money to go on Disney. You bought me a Ducati instead.
You never know.
You never know. Well, I know we're running out of time here, so I like to always make a habit to ask two things from you, if you don't mind.
Of course.
So the first one, since we're in the gaming industry, what games do you currently play, or what games are you excited to play in the future? Is the first question. And then the second question, if you can give anyone out there in the audience, whether they're aspiring or current professionals, just a good motivational inspiration message, what would it be?
Okay, so question number one, Call of Duty. I don't play it anymore because, again, I don't have time, but I would love to like pick up the sticks and be good. I just know that that's such a time commitment to be competitive. Yeah, I don't want to respawn just to die right away. So Call of Duty. And my piece of advice is you can do it. I grew up like without any money. I was very happy, but without any money, I went to a small school that no one's ever heard of. I had a job that no one understood, and I had to explain over and over during interviews, but I got a job that thousands and hundreds have. And it's all about like believing in yourself, networking, and again, like wanting it so bad that you'll do basically anything for it. And the thing is, when you want it bad enough, you enjoy the work. It's not a chore. It's not overly time consuming. You enjoy it because you know that once it happens, like once it all comes together, it's all worth it. And that's like my entire life. It's like putting in the work, believing in myself, truly like being happy, I think, is another part of it. It all comes together. You just need to want it enough. So don't focus on any of the things that you might see as negative. Like, I didn't go to an Ivy League school. It doesn't matter. Maybe that would help, but it doesn't matter. Right. You have what you have and make the most of it.
Make the most of it.
Yeah.
And I love that simple line, make the most of it, make it happen. And I think that's a great note to end on here, Madison. Thank you again for coming on the show. I hope that you can come back and we can do another session. Maybe
I would love to.
Else. Or maybe if you have your own show, invite me. I'm happy to come along as well. But I'm excited for our journey. I'm excited for our growth. There's a lot of things going on with both of our professional lives. And so,
oh my gosh,
it's been a real pleasure. Like, again, the vibration level that I sense from you has been tremendous. And everyone, thank you for watching. Hopefully you can get some advice and tidbits. I know this is not your traditional career advice, but it does help with having a different bucket, to having all these buckets help you with your job search or level up. And as I always like to say, or try to say on every episode here, is the world can always use more heroes, and happy leveling up out there, everyone.